Welcome back to the Highway 49 podcast. Today's a little bit of a jumbled episode. We're going to talk a little bit of Charlotte football, the NIL situation there. We're going to talk some Hornets with NBA season tipping off this week. And then a little bit some prediction time, season awards, things like that later in the show. But as always, I'm here with Jeremy Grandison. Man, I know you just got back from a weekend trip. Tell us the best thing you've seen, man.
Yeah, it's been a hectic 9 days. I was at a music festival in Virginia. The return of one of my favorite artists called Grizz, he came back. So I was at a 3-day music fest last week. And then the weekend that just passed, I had a big college reunion in Tennessee where all my college friends, we got a big Airbnb in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I will say, we saw a black bear. Like we were walking back from the bars and cars were passing us saying, "There's a bear up there, be careful." And I got spooked like hell. But it was just great seeing all the dudes that, kind of grew up with college days and ready to get back into it. So even though it's been stressful, not stressful, but eventful 9 days, I'm ready to hop back in. But that's the best thing I've seen, Hunter. How about you?
Yeah, that sounds like a weekend, man. Mine is pretty just goofy. We got Bean a little Batman mask, and I'll overlay that picture here now. Shit's hilarious. It's not like he's wearing it all the time, but it's funny to have. But yeah, chill weekend. Watch Charlotte's game Saturday. Was glad to get out of there. 8 o'clock, and watch NFL Sunday. So. It's the best thing I've got going on here. It was interesting. I did get a chance to meet the interim athletic director, Jesh Humphrey, for the 49ers. And it was it was a somber post game. We're not going to break the game down. I'll probably do that with Hannah on a pod later this week. Jay was, as I said, out of town. Uh, but a somber post game, and I will talk about a little bit of that here. Asking Tim Alvin straight up, what is the NIL valuation of this team? And what do you need to compete? And I'll plug some of his audio, but I'm going to give some context to that first. We all know NIL is a hot spot. I mean, Chancellor Gaber said it in the release, the original release. She said it in the Q&A back and forth with myself, and I haven't been able to talk to her since. I've reached out about any availability. You'd figure, I guess, if you're going to make this move, you'd want to be available, maybe get what you think out there, control the narrative a little bit, but haven't been able to have that kind of sit down or face-to-face conversation with her. But Charlotte's case, so this past year, Biff Poggi's last year, the team had about $1.25 million in NIL. This year, the goal was work up to around 1.5 million, and they got close. They got to 1.4. That is the official number for this year's team, is what I've been passed along to me. And we're seeing the results of that. 1 point whatever million last year. Price is always going up. We talked about it. We joked about it with Deshaun Purdy in the past. Yesterday's price, not today's price. But literally every year in college football, the NIL value is just going to continue to grow. The schools can directly pay the players now. There's collectives. It continues, and we'll dive into that in a minute. But like I say, it was pretty somber Saturday night after that game. I mean, it's 7-7 in the first quarter. You look up an hour later, it's 49-7. You're getting blown out of the building by a team that hasn't won more than 3 games in a season since 2019. So that's a little bit on the game. Like I say, we're not going to dive in, but I want to talk NIL side of things and kind of where Charlotte's at. But Jay, I guess in your mind, I know I just said a lot, but what are some overall thoughts I guess you have on the topic?
On NIL, that's the elephant in the room. Any discussion we have is going to center around NIL. I think every question we have for coach will somehow weave and trickle back down to NIL. I just think back to the App State opener when I asked him about, how you think you fared at the line of scrimmage, and he said, "Hey, we got beat at the line of scrimmage," and that trickles down to NIL. It trickles down to when you play UNC and you say, "Hey, UNC's got some heavy dudes." That trickles
Yeah.
down to NIL. All these things that are being said are ultimately trickling down to the one thing that we're going to talk about today, which is NIL. So I'm glad that you got me on this time to, kind of talk about this. But I guess that's my initial thoughts. Everything comes back to this in this day and age of college football.
Yeah. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and plug Tim's kind of response to my question. He didn't directly answer the question, but he did kind of weave in some answers, and I'm gonna elaborate from there.
NIL has been a hot topic this week. What is the valuation of this team, and what is that, I guess, level that you need to build a competitive roster in this conference?
Yeah, we're just past the halfway point, and obviously I've been working on some things. Obviously with our leadership, um, we all know how important resources are, and there's no way in heck I am going to blame anything on uh, the money piece. This is on me, and but you can help yourself in this day and age. You can. I don't look at it as paying players. It's not what we're doing. We're investing in a university with great men. It's an investment. It's not you just throwing it out and they're going out and buying a new car. It's not what we do. You look at our GPA. You look at who we're graduating, and in our short time here, it's an investment. You're gonna have guys that are going to graduate from here. They're gonna live in Charlotte. They're gonna give back to uptown. They're gonna be a part of something special. And so we need all the help we can get. And this is uncharted waters with some of this stuff. Now with one window, it is a whole nother ball game, and we've had the same game for about 2.5 years. You know, all right. Now it's changed from a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I'm not happy about it. But there's I want I wish I was in the room to look. Now you understand what we're doing here with this window and one window, and but I'm emotional right now, and I just know that what I said about this is I look at it as an investment, and we need help. We got 10 recruits here. I got two more. We got another group coming in Friday, and another group coming in on the UTSA game. Critical, critical. I just had a young man coming up the stairs, right before I walked in this room. And so, when we have 18 kids committed, so you know, I'm excited about it.
All right, so Tim mentioned the window. So the transfer portal window has now changed. There used to be multiple. That's when you would see players hitting the portal, sitting out bowl games, a lot of stuff that kind of maybe diminished the product in the college football world, college basketball as well. There is now one transfer window portal, which I think is probably good in the long term scheme of things. Just okay, this is the one, and hopefully they stick with it. Tim Alvin expressed frustration. You heard in his statement there. He said there's one window. He said, I quote, I'm not happy about it because it changes how all of this works, right? So for Charlotte, for example, players are going to begin to hit the portal as the window opens up, just as all 134 FBS schools will be, JUCO, whatever it is, like outside of that FCS, the whole nine. The difference now is if Charlotte's going to recruit that portal, they need money now. This is I guess the wider side of things on that end, and they're in a straight on fundraising mode. Now, that's part of the reason I guess the biggest reason what it sounds like Mike Hill was terminated. I guess the lack of being able to bridge those connections with local donors, whether it's you're thinking as big as a Dave Tepper or just people in the background that are Charlotte alums that just love the program to whatever it may be. I think that's the direction they're wanting to go in. The number I've been told that they're trying to get to for this next year's team is around 4 million, which would be more than almost triple what last year's team was. And you look around the American, you're okay, so how does that stack up? For reference, South Florida, this year's team, $8 million in NIL. Obviously, I mean, literally almost 8 times what Charlotte has, and you see that come to fruition on the field. You see former 49ers that Cartavius Norton, for example, that maybe had a better offer from South Florida, and that makes all the difference, man. Go have a chance to compete, have a chance to even make the college football playoff. They're playing Memphis this Saturday in a massive game. Would have been even bigger had Memphis beaten USF or UAB this past week. But when I look at a Charlotte program, a couple million makes sense NIL wise in my mind for kind of where we've seen this team. And the lines were always blurred with Biff Poggi because we knew that he had his own money. How much of that he poured into the team, I've never gotten a straight answer on. And I think you'd hear different answers from different folks. Uh, we talk about pouring money into the football program, pouring money into the men's basketball, women's basketball. Like, how do you elevate these programs? You can't, this isn't mom and pop's recruiting anymore. You can't go into the house and say, I'm going to turn your son into a man if he comes to our school, this and that. You've got to be able to say all that and then say, and here's the $750,000 that I've got for you, because we know that App State's coming with it, East Carolina's coming with it, Coastal Carolina, whoever. And I guess that's just my overall like input on where they're at right now. They've got a lot of work to do. I'll be interested to see what they do to get there.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is you said there's one transfer portal window now, or one transfer window now, and this all goes back to, some people not being okay with how Mike Hill did with the NIL, and that's one of the things that you mentioned may have you know, caused his termination. But for me, it's you got to give these donors a reason to donate. You can't just say we're in the city of Charlotte, donate to us. That's not going to cut it. And I mean, these are like, again, hard things to swallow. And I understand people might be frustrated with me at certain points because it feels like I'm almost talking down to the school, and I'm not. This is the first school I started covering out of college. And I was seeing this place go nuts when it's good. It hasn't been good often, but I want to see this community, this university give people a reason to give money to them. If there's
Yeah.
one transfer window and you are 1 in 5, what do you expect the NIL to be, the donations to be? You have to give these guys reasons. And you mentioned USF. USF has $8 million. If you're USF, you're saying 8 million, that is not going to be what it is this season because what? They go and beat UF and they go and beat another ranked school. Well, I think it was Boise State. You're giving the donors reasons to either say, I'm going to make a new donation or I'm going to up my donation that I did previously. And so far, I don't see a reason why donors should be saying, I'm going to pick donating to Charlotte over another North Carolina school. There is no reason right now. And it's unfortunately it comes back to the product on the field. You have to give these guys a reason to give you money that will then help you get the players you need.
Yeah, and I've had comments from folks in X comments, Twitter comments, whatever you want to call it, saying, what happened to the Panthers practice bubble? Why didn't that go to Charlotte? Why is Dave Tepper giving 5 million to South Carolina and not Charlotte, knowing that they're 20 minutes from Bank of America Stadium? And you hear that, and it's like, yeah, sure. Like when I would talk to Biff Poggi, he knew Gabe Plotkin and Rich Schnall, the Hornets owner. He's friends with the Teppers. You would like to think that that would be that connection maybe in the past to bridge that gap and maybe see some of those donations. But as you mentioned a second ago, results matter, and Charlotte doesn't have them right now.
They're not just gonna give you money because you're friends with them. They're not just
Right.
gonna give you money because there's a connection. That has nothing like again, I I don't know what to say at times. What do you want to see other than football results? I don't know. That pipeline, the reason why South Carolina might get it over Charlotte is because one, they're in the SEC. That money might go further. That money might be more tangible when you can go and beat another SEC team. And for Charlotte, that money will go so far. But again, you just got to give them a
Yeah.
reason to.
So to clarify, we mentioned the transfer portal window change. So there used to be two windows. It was like mid-December, and then there was a spring window in April. Now, starting with the 2026 cycle, players will have from January 2nd through January 16th to formally submit their names into the portal. So it's out of December completely. So we'll have bowl games that, at least theoretically, there still may be players that sit out. You never really know how this is going to go. And there's really no rules on it. We've talked about this before with maybe bigger schools of if a quarterback decides that he wants another couple million in NIL the night before a big game, he can go and say, I'm not playing. I need this check ran to me. And there's no rules that are gonna, there's nothing that can stop that right now. And that's, I think, the frustrating thing. And just in an overall, like overarching theme with NIL and Charlotte, it's drastically impacted the team, the product on the field. You look around, Charlotte's got, I think it was four, just off the top of my head, four players drafted. Talk Cam Clark, Nate Davis, Larry Ogunjobi, Alex Highsmith, Grant Debo. So five. Think about when the last one of those joined the Charlotte 49ers. That's 2021. That's right as NIL kind of kicked off 21 into 22. Since the talent on the team, if it's good, they're transferring out. So you're looking at guys like Demetrius Knight who make a pit stop in Charlotte and move on. It's harder for the 49ers to keep the I guess quality talent in the city of Charlotte, and that's just kind of the reality of it right now.
So I'll pose this question to you because you're an alum, you have a, very good connection to this university and all of its programs. How does the next AD do a better job than Mike did in that NIL department? What can they do? What avenues are there, if there are any, to bump that 1.4 to the 4 million or get close to that 4 million that they said that they want to reach?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is going to be, we talked about earlier, the connections, the big donors. We talked about the stadium expansion, whether it's David Raven, Smokey Bissell, whoever is donating money. I also want to see, I've seen a lot of programs lately have former players come back as GMs or even make big donations. Think what Alex Highsmith could do on the football side of things, what maybe a Jameer Young could do on the basketball side of things, even a Bryce Williams. These players that have local ties here felt, I guess, tied to the university and would either want to give back. I asked Mike Hill straight up when they went into this hiring process for Tim Albin, will you hire a GM? Because we're seeing programs all around the country with GMs because I mean, you pretty much have a salary cap and you've got to be able to decide. I mean, you look at this team this year, more than likely most of these players won't be back next year, whether it's to graduation, whether they're going to portal, whether they're going to step away the game from the game. So you've got to be able to figure out and budget to, okay, we need X amount of talent. These are the positions we need because roster construction, I mean, I will say this, I'm glad I'm not a head coach is I would never want this job. And I think having a GM or having someone to help on that side of things and let your coach focus on the football side could be beneficial. I don't know what traits they're looking for in an AD. I mean, we talked about it. We got the quote directly from Gaber. It's not specific to winning on the field, but the NIL portion is the biggest thing, and I think that's probably the best way I can answer that question.
Yeah, so I posed that to you. I'm going to pose this to all the listeners. Leave in the comments, leave in the Discord, leave everywhere. What do you think is the problem? And what do you think are the answers and solutions? If it's not Charlotte, if it's not the AD, or if it is the AD, what are those things? What can you do to fix it? Because I always think back of like when a head coach gets fired and people or not fired, but people are saying this head coach, this person needs to be fired. And my next question, the next logical question is, who do you replace them with? Right? You
Exactly.
can't have these problems and then just expect them to be fixed with a new face. What can those persons do? What can those people actually do to make a change? Because that's what we want to see. Everyone in Niner Nation wants to go into those games and think we have more than a puncher's chance to win these games. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you can get donors to believe that, then they'll give you the money. If the donors can think this money can actually turn into W's, then of course they're going to be more inclined to give it. But if they think, hey, I give this money and they have a 3-9 season, then I don't see the benefit in that for both sides.
Yeah, completely agree. It's a tough spot to be in. Like I say, I don't envy where they're at, trying to figure it out. And whoever they hire, it's not. I mean, they've said multiple times they have no timeline on this hire, which I think is maybe a wild way to go about things. It seems like if you're going to fire Mike, you would want to have a plan in place, and maybe they do. Maybe they're just hiding their hand, and it could come out here pretty soon. But I do want to say one other thing. I posted maybe late in that game Saturday that I've covered a lot of bad football, and this is the worst it's been. And got a lot of. I mean, the tweet kind of blew up. I don't really love the like people just feast on negativity, and that was a negative minded tweet. I'm sitting there watching this team get boat raced by a team that hasn't won a conference game on the road in years, hasn't won more than 3 games in a season since 2019, and knowing Charlotte's at least won 5 games twice in that span. Have they been a bowl game since then or been a bowl team since then? No. But it's like you're accustomed to that in these we talked about it earlier, the crazy scheduling against the Power Five teams. You expect to look up and it's 49-7 against Georgia or Ole Miss or Louisville or whoever it is that you're playing, but you don't expect that against a team in your league that's struggling with a first year coach, just how you are. So that was the frustration level of that. And it's just I mean, man, I we sat here and did a prediction show before the season. Jay, you said 3-9. I said this team could win 5 games. And I look at it now and I'm like, cool, I guess I'm glad my cop out is I couldn't watch practice. They wouldn't let us in to see anything to evaluate the talent. maybe this is why, but it's at a point where now you're fully on to 2026. Alvin talked about having players in. He had a player commit to him right after the game Saturday night. They've got more folks on the way for North Texas, another batch of recruits for UTSA, and he said they had 18 players committed for this upcoming season at this time. So we'll see what they do, man. I like I say, I do not envy that position right now. But that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today for Charlotte and the NIL side of things. We're going to transition a little bit. It's NBA season. So, as you noticed last year, there's a little bit more Hornets coverage on this pod. It's going to continue again this year, whether it's me and Jeremy. We'll have Matt Alkeys on the show, kind of bouncing around talking Hornets. We actually just left practice availability today. Season tips off Wednesday night against Brooklyn. Jay, I'm just curious, your overarching thoughts on the season. We know injuries are the biggest factor for this team, much like the Charlotte 49ers, but what are you most excited about for this year as second year of Charles Lee's tenure kicks or tips off?
Yeah, I mean, we walk into the Hornets wrapping up practice, and I just look around and I tell you, they've got so many guys, man.
Yeah,
You got Melo, you got Brandon, you got Miles, you got Con Knipple, you have Colin Sexton, you have Trey Mann, you have like dudes who are real dudes established. You have Musa Diabate, who's going to work harder than anybody else on the floor. You have guys like Ryan Kalkbrenner, who have been in college for 4 or 5 years, and they come in and they're more polished than many centers who come in, like Common Maluach. So the potential is there, but we say that every season. Of course, the injury bug is going to be huge, but for me, it's just when we were in the arena last year and there's an injury, the getting guys off 10 days from the swarm to bring in
yeah.
to, fill in the roster. This year, I think if you have those injuries, you hopefully can have a Trey Mann step in or a Colin Sexton come in and take that role rather than, respect to all the guys from before, but a Jaden Sims might not cut it in, the modern NBA. So I'm just excited. I think I'm excited for every season that's going to begin. I was the same way with the 49ers. I was excited for everything going in, and I just hope that injuries can kind of stay away from this team, and hopefully we can have a fun season.
Yeah, no doubt. And I agree. We were sitting at media day, and it's like just a car wash of players coming through one after another after another. You get to thinking like they really have talent on the team, and I felt the same way last year when, as the guys come in through the door one after another, it's you look around and as you say, can they stay on the courts? I want to talk about a couple of the young guys really fast. Con Knipple, Liam McNeely, Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think those are the three kind of rookies with high expectations. And McNeely kind of is in that middle ground right now. And then I think Sion James will probably spend a lot of time in Greensboro. But those top two, Kalkbrenner and Con Knipple, talk about their games and what you're looking forward to seeing from those two guys in year one.
Yeah, this draft is awesome simply because I think you have transformational players like Cooper Flag, you have polarizing players like Ace Bailey, and then you just have specialists. And these specialists
Yeah.
will have very long, fruitful, successful careers. Like Colin Knipple, he's going to have a 10 plus year career. As
Oh,
long
for
as
sure.
I pray the injury gods stay away from him. But if he stays healthy, he's going to be on the Hornets for a long time. And he's just what he brings to the NBA court is perfect for, this current modern phase of the NBA. And I think that he's not just a shooter. He can put the ball on the floor. He can find his teammates after the swing. Swing comes and the hard closeout. He's able to put the ball on the floor, make some good decisions. And he's able to, even though his athleticism might not be where most of the league is, he's able to kind of use his tricks of the trade to get to where he wants on the floor still. So I'm really excited for Khan, and I think he's gonna fit well alongside LaMelo and Brandon, but it's also gonna be an adjustment period because I think in Duke and wherever he was before, it's a very rigid, structured kind of offense. And Charlotte's more of like, hey, we have talent
Pace
and
and
the ball will
space.
come to you, but pace and space, be ready for anything kind of stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he adjusts to that. But then Ryan Kalkbrenner, I mean, I'm really impressed with him. I don't think that's anything crazy to say simply because he's a vet. He's older than Musa Diabate,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think. And I think the role that they have, the things they want him to do, he can excel out from the beginning, whether that's, hey, getting that quick second jump to put the ball back in, or he has soft hands to be able to catch these seam passes, as Charles Lee would call it, and finish it lightly at the basket. He can catch a ball, have it high enough, hold it well enough, and give an extra pass to the corners when that defense collapses. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter out the gate. I'm not saying that he's going to, wow everybody, but I do think that for what they'll use him for, I think it's good. And the way
Yeah.
I think about the center position is kind of like a bullpen, where Charles Lee says, all right, I need a lot of energy and I need some rebounding. We're going to Musa. Or, hey, close game, tight game, I need experience. I'm going to Mason. Or, hey, you know what? I need shot blocking. I need this. I need that. We're going to Kalkbrenner. So I do like all the options they have, and that again makes me excited for this season.
Yeah, I think Cockburn is going to play a lot early, and I'm excited about that. His a bit, I mean, he can step outside and shoot a little bit. He's like you mentioned, soft hands. I don't expect him to put the ball on the floor much, but I tip ins around the rim, lob passes from Melo. I think he's going to have a nice kind of rookie season in the NBA. And you mentioned all his experience, man. I mean, played 5 years at Creighton, and that's good college hoops. 49ers fans, Nick Graves is at Creighton now, so if you follow along with any of the guys that move on, check him out this season. But one more question for you surrounding this team, and it's last year's draft. We've seen kind of KJ Simpson, sparks from him. Talk about Tejan Salon, man. It's in my opinion, I mean, we've talked a ton about Matas with Chicago, that pick being there at 6. But Tejan, his development, what do you want to see? Like, what is a tangible year two jump for him in your mind that like kind of continues the trajectory for why they took him top 10?
Yeah, we've had the Matas discussion a bunch, but at this point, hindsight's 2020. Can't go
Yeah.
back, can't redo it. So you're looking at Tijon and you're saying, what can he do year two that can be like he took a real step forward? We heard Miles Bridges at practice talking about how Tijon, the game is slowing down a little bit for him. He's kind of knowing what to do in certain situations and not just playing off of instinct. He's more playing off of what the defense is doing and reading and reacting to that. To answer your question, I would say hit the open corner three
Yeah.
and be able to play defense on the opposing team's second best wing, not first. I still don't think you can guard the Tatums, the Jalen Browns, the Mikal Bridges, maybe, but like stuff, guys like that, that's still a ways away. But can you guard a Zachary Rizal? Can you guard a Jalen Johnson?
Yeah.
Is what I'd say.
That's fair.
Another 6'10" dude where your size and your measurables will give you a good chance. You'll have a fighting chance just from your frame. Now, can you, as we talked about and Charles Lee has talked about, can you get in that defensive stance? Can you know when to stay down, when not to play or not to foul when defending? All those little things because you don't need a score. You have LaMelo, you have Brandon, you have Miles. Scoring is already done. You
Yeah.
don't need to be a playmaker per se. You also have a ton of playmakers on this team. His role is going to be, can you attack the glass hard? Can you play defense without fouling? And can you inject this team with energy that doesn't just mean I'm throwing fist bumps and I'm hitting an occasional shot or I'm getting fouled occasionally? Can you do it consistently? Can you turn those flashes into the norm? And that's what I'm looking for his year two progression.
Yeah, I think he's also kind of set up for more success this year. And what I mean by that is we talked about his rookie season. They were having to play 10-day guys all around him. There were times where Tajon Salon might have to give you 10 to 15 points for you to have a chance to win the game last year.
Which is
And
a
I think
crazy thing to say.
exactly. And you look at this team this year, the additions of guys like Colin Sexton. I know they just waived Spencer Dinwiddie. That's the thing is the four position is interesting there because Musa we saw last year he could play a little bit of the four if he has to, depending on those lineups. And Charles Lee even likes that at times. We've seen Musa kind of work on that shot. But yeah, I think the team is better built this year, depth wise, to help out Tajon and let him kind of thrive in his role. And yeah, I agree with you. All effort, going to the ball, going to the floor for the ball, tips at the rim, anything to be that spark off the bench. I completely agree. And I think it could be a fun year. One last question for you because we're about to get into some awards, some prediction times. Do you think that there is a Hornets, whether it's a rookie, whether it's a guy like LaMelo, Brandon, that can make an all team this year, whether it's an all NBA team, an all rookie team, anything like that?
I think Con Knipple can be all rookie.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't all rookie
Yeah.
with what he's gonna be given, what he's gonna be tasked to do. I'm really, really high on Con Knipple. In terms of all NBA,
Yeah, I don't
y y again, this is one of those things where like you just gotta be realistic
yeah.
and expecting Melo to first hit the 65 game threshold to be able to be
Yeah.
eligible for it is not high. I think Brandon Miller can be an
He's the only
all-star
one that
caliber
could do it
player.
in my
I think
mind
he's the
is
only
B
one that
Mill.
could do it. Um, again, B Mill's awesome, man, but I want to see him on the court, share the court with LaMelo and Miles for however many games that's going to be. So I'd say all rookie for Khan. Everyone else probably not. If
Yeah.
Ryan Kalkbrenner can be a consistent, guy for the Hornets, maybe he could get all rookie as well because they need exactly what he brings, which might allow him to, kind of thrive. I see Bean in the back there, but I'd say those two, Con and Ryan for all rookie, are probably my best bets.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really excited to kind of see Charles Lee's second year development too. We've talked about he was playing with, I mean, he didn't have half the cards in his deck last year, maybe more, and we still saw a lot of the ATOs, a lot of the late game good strategy, and I think that gives hope for Hornets fans this year of knowing, hey, we've got a good head coach. He pushes the players. He's out there running sprints after practices with them. There's very personal connections, and I think we'll be able to see that kind of translate on the court this year, especially if the guys stay on the court. Let's get into it a little bit, man. So, prediction season, that's pretty much all that's happening right now. Tip off is tomorrow. I can't wait for it, man. I'm glad that it's back. I saw one of those clips on Twitter maybe like a week ago, and it was the first 5 minutes of starting five with SGA, with Halliburton, KD, Harden, and Jaylen Brown. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, okay, I'm dialed in. I've been heavy on football. The NFL is still my favorite, but NBA is right there. And I got the chance to walk through the Spectrum Center this past week, last Friday, I guess, and the new look Spectrum Center, the renovations, it looks great in there. I'm excited. It reminds me a lot of Barclays Center from in Brooklyn. It's very light, like it's very bright. It feels very open, and I think they did a really good job. I'm excited to see what it looks like. So they added 1,400 seats to the lower bowl. I've told our media seats are the same, man. I hope they are. I hope we're not up in the rafters trying to zoom in on LaMelo Ball's passes. But I'm excited, man. It's I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, absolutely. No time like the NBA season, especially with NBC and Amazon Prime. I showed you the new Amazon Prime music. Sounds like a Jay-Z
Yeah.
instrumental from like 2003. Like you said, I should be playing on it with like 2K13 soundtrack. Sounds like what it's on, but really excited for the season to tip off, man. And it's a long, grueling 82 game season, and I guess we'll talk about it coming up, but a lot of the players that will win the awards is going to come down to health too. It's going to be a major
Yeah.
factor. So we'll see what happens.
No doubt, man. So we're gonna run through a few here. Start with the straight title prediction, man. Who you got winning the NBA championship this year?
This is really tough.
And these are shots in the dark. We're just having this
Yeah,
for one of them hits. We can just throw it back up later on.
yeah. Just clip the 1 for 5 that I go.
Yeah.
I would say I'd say the Oklahoma City Thunder again. And I know there hasn't been a team that's gone back to back since the Warriors in 2017, 2018, but this team is so young. They feel like a college team, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of their players, J-Dub would be entering his like senior year, or he'd just be graduating if he stayed all 4 years at, the school he was at. So this team is so young, and they're led by a guy that's in the smack dab middle of his prime. You'll hear his name again on one of the predictions coming up, but it's just I watched them last year and I see them navigate these things, and I say it's hard to skip the line in the NBA. This team did.
Yeah.
And now that they skipped the line, I don't think they want to give it up. So I'd say the OKC Thunder.
Yeah, we talk about injuries, whether it's the Charlotte 49ers, whether it's the Charlotte Hornets. They missed some guys in the middle of the season. Chet didn't play a ton. J-Dub dealt with an injury in the playoffs. He played through that wrist injury. But they were relatively fortunate down the stretch. And one team, my NBA title prediction that wasn't was the Denver Nuggets. Watching Michael Porter Jr. deal with shoulder injuries, Aaron Gordon with the hamstring late in the playoffs, and they took They took Oklahoma City to 7 games, ultimately losing, and watching the Thunder raise the trophy not too long after that. But I think Denver got way better this offseason. I think Cam Johnson is the perfect piece to fit in there, kind of replace MPJ. I think Jokic is best player on the planet. I know SGA probably has that crown this past season just with all of his accolades, but I love what they did getting Jonas Valanciunas in there. They can even play two big lineups with that if they choose to, and I think that elevates like the DeAndre Jordan minutes are gone. I think Jonas is much better, and I'm excited for the Thunder this season. From there, I think we probably have similar picks from the two teams we just talked about, but give us your MVP, man. Who's the MVP of the 2025-26 NBA season?
Yeah, it's gonna be similar to what I just said, man. You rarely see a guy get it done this early, in like Shea, and then still have almost room to be better. And I know
Yeah,
that when you see his stats and he goes for 30 plus points a game and he wins MVP, he wins the scoring title, you're saying, well, you can't get much better than that. But we thought that with Jokic 3 years ago. When we saw him win MVP, we're like, oh, I mean, that's the best he can do. And then Jokic was arguably the best he's ever been last season.
yeah.
Um, so for Shea, it's just so cool. And this is something that I really appreciate across all sports when you see an Asia Wilson have 3 MVPs and hit the biggest shot of WNBA Finals, the biggest shot of her life, you think that's the height of her career. No, it's not. These
Yeah.
people are in the middle of their prime. They know exactly what to do now, and the ceiling, like the sky is the limit now. So I'd say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I expect the Thunder to win 65 plus games again, and I expect the voters to be like, you know what? 30 a night again on a team that's 65 plus wins again in a
How do you
loaded
not do
Western
it?
Conference. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with that guy.
That's the thing. You talked about him doing it so early. Like in Jokic, his case, he wins the MVP, but he didn't have the playoff success to back it up when he won it. You saw that was Golden State's time to get it done that season. And with Shea, you get the MVP, you win the scoring title, you go and win Finals MVP, win it this young. I agree with you. I am going to push back though. It's hard for me. Like Jokic, you talk about the elevation of his game. You look at his stats. Well, I don't even have him in front of me. 30, 10, and 10, probably pretty close to that last year. And you look at it and you say, how do you get better than that? How do you get more efficient than that? And then you watch him play and everything he does, you're just like, this dude is unbelievable. And in my mind, it's just hard to kind of maybe take that from him 2 years in a row. I thought Shea took it from him rightfully last year. I think he definitely deserved it. I don't think Jokic gives a damn about it. He's just out there to play basketball. But I think he'll get it done this year. One thing too, let's get to Defensive Player of the Year. It's hard to not give this to Wemby, dude. We're watching the preseason. We're watching what he's doing to his own teammates in the Spurs intra squad scrimmage, and I mean he looks like a combination of ex great player. You name it, man. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not gonna push back at all. Wemby's the dude. If he's
Yeah,
healthy, he's the runaway favorite. But I will say I saw a clip of Giannis guarding Shea one-on-one in preseason, and it just made me remember what an absolute demon that guy was on defense in
yeah,
2019. In 2021. Like he won Defensive Player of the Year, rightfully so, because before Wemby, Giannis was Wemby. He was a guy who no one has seen before doing
yep,
whatever he's done on the court. And it's just a bummer that we won't be able to see that side of him because of his offensive workload. It's just going to be
exactly.
sky high. But I will say, like Giannis could be in that conversation. Amin Thompson, the way that he's going to be guarding backcourt players is going to be in that conversation. Evan Mobley will be in this conversation as well. There are guys that can also excel at defense. But then you look at Wemby, the 7'5" alien that he is, and say, you know what? I'll reserve that award. I'll put that award in the closet just waiting so I can take it out and give it to you at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it's narrative based too, a little bit. I think Amin Thompson did a good job. His team's out there. He's saying, I think I'm the best defender in the league. And I really think that matters because if say Wemby doesn't meet that 65 game threshold for the second straight year, it's again open for the taking. But yeah, heavy favorite. It's hard to say anyone else could win it. Rookie of the year, man. Who you got for in the first year of the league making the biggest impact?
It's Cooper, man. I I watched those Dallas games and I think how fortunate of a rookie must you be where I'm watching him get a steal against the Hornets. He's running the floor, and who is the guy who's filling the lane correctly for the open three? Klay Thompson, a
Yeah.
dude who is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Maybe a top five shooter of all time, an incredible vet who knows how to work off ball, who knows how to get his shots, his points off ball, who also in his prime was a great defender, could also
Yeah.
lock up, backcourt players, smaller wings. That's your vet who just spaces the floor. You have Kyrie Irving coming back, and let's say a little bit after the All-Star break. You have Anthony Davis. And it's something I think about where, if you're a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo, we just talked about him, or how about this, a player like Wemby, where they're great defensive players, and the Spurs say, just because you're a great defensive player doesn't mean we're gonna take shortcuts on that side of the ball. They said we're gonna draft another good defensive player in Dylan Harper, another good one in Stephon Castle. We're gonna bring in De'Aaron Fox. We're gonna have Jeremy Sohan. All these guys that can play defense that will only elevate Wemby's defense. I think the same is true for Cooper Flag, where, hey, we know you're a great defender. We know you can guard backcourt players and wings. Who are you next to? Anthony Davis. Who are you next to? PJ Washington and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. So I think that Cooper's in such a position to succeed that I honestly would be surprised if healthy, he did not have the Rookie of the Year award at the end of the season.
Yeah, the only like my thought process with it, I'll tell you my pick is VJ Edgecombe for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'll give some context to it in a minute. The only reason I think Cooper could not get that award is because I think we've talked about all the talent on this team. I mean, dude, they have a great team. Like D'Angelo Russell's going to be there, up guard depth, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford. I mean, they have an embarrassment of riches when Kyrie Irving is back on the court. And Hornets fans could probably thank Adam Silver for that, however you want to look at it. VJ Edgecombe was the pick that I was hoping would fall to Charlotte at 4 in this draft. When you found out, okay, lottery odds didn't go in your favor, Hornets ended up at 4. That's the dream pick. And you saw him in a little bit of the Olympic Games playing for the Bahamas, and he looks like the best player on the court, man. And you saw what he did at Baylor. I think the college game's a lot different. I think he's got the biggest upside opportunity. And what I mean by that is the Philadelphia 76ers, injury wise, have been as bad, if not worse, than the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, you never know if Embiid's going to play. He's not playing back to backs. We don't know when Paul George is coming back. Jared McCain's coming off an injury. Tyrese Maxey is kind of that steady hand. But I think VJ Edgecombe is going to have so much opportunity this year as a rookie, and I think his numbers will reflect that. And like I said with Cooper, he might end up being that connector this year. I mean, they're going to have to play him at the one at times. He's going to have the ball in his hands. He's a great decision maker. But I do think guys like AD, I think Lively's going to have a big year when Kyrie comes back, and Clay. Clay could have one of his best seasons ever this upcoming year. Just catch and shoot.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with VJ, but at the same time, VJ will be doing stuff off the ball. I think Coop
Yeah,
will be doing stuff on the ball.
yeah,
Joel Embiid is healthy out there, and Tyrese is healthy, and Paul George gets back. VJ will not be having a lot of possessions to be,
be the
Baylor,
guy.
yeah, Baylor VJ. I think Cooper Flag, if he's finding Derek Lively, or if Derek Lively's eating, it's because a Cooper alley-oop. It's because a defensive play that allows him to get onto the fast break. So I think that even though VJ might have, maybe less talent, which is crazy to say. I don't know if I can say that. I do think Cooper will be the person who's allowing those plays to happen for the
Yeah.
Mavericks.
Yeah, Cooper's definitely in arguably the best first year situation, just like humanly
Ever. Yeah,
possible.
unless you're
Yeah.
Jason Tatum.
From there, we're gonna wrap up. We got two more. We're gonna hit most improved player. This award could go to a former number one overall pick who just figured their game out. It could go to someone that's actually making that jump. I'm curious who you got, man, because the narrative and kind of what surrounds this award, I feel like changes every year.
Yeah, I was thinking about going for someone who was, a lesser player, but then made the real big jump, maybe not the highest draft pick, but based off of recent MIPs, they're usually high draft picks.
Yeah, that struggle
So
early and then figure it out.
exactly. So I'm actually gonna go to the Spurs. I'm gonna go with Stephon Castle in year two. I
Yeah,
think seeing
going
what this
rookie of the year to most
the most
improved.
improved,
Yeah.
really, like
Yeah.
I think that the rookie of the year race was a little weak last year.
Yeah.
And I think with the Spurs, what he's going to be able to do, Dylan Harper is going to have to be sharing minutes with De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle as well. But I think Stephon is going to just be fringe all-star level.
Yeah.
And if you're that level, I think you are in contention for most improved. And I get it, like you said, rookie of the year. But I see Castle and I think, were you there when the Spurs played the Hornets?
I was there as a fan, his career high that night. What them dude, his ability to decel, get to the rim, get off me. He's gonna continue to put on weight. I can see it, man. I really can.
Yeah, so that's gonna be my pick just because I'm so high on the Spurs and I don't know if it'll translate into wins, but I think they have so many guys that could end up in a lot of season awards.
Yeah, agree. I'm gonna go another just kind of opportunity area. I'm going with Andrew Nimhard with the Pacers. We talked about well, we didn't talk about him. Tyrese Halliburton likely not going to play this year, recovering from that torn Achilles in Game 7 of the Finals. We saw. I mean, I feel like Nimhard is just a playoff riser, but we maybe haven't seen him have that type of success consistently through an 82 game regular season. This year, I think he's got no choice. I mean, if the Pacers are going to compete, I think Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the league. I think he's going to put the ball in his hands. And I just keep going back to that, just the bag work against Shea, dude. Like I can't get that out of my head. I think he's going to have a big season. I think he really has no choice, especially if the Pacers are to compete, which it's tough to say losing their guy in Tyrese and then moving on from Miles.
Yeah, you see a guy like Nemhard and he doesn't have the biggest frame. He's not the tallest dude, but one of my best signature moves, we've had a signature move podcast on my channel was he loves that little like get to the elbow mid-range area, give you a little shoulder, create enough
Yeah,
separation to pull up. And I think that's just an awesome move to have if you're a second, third option.
yeah,
If you're the first option, and now you have J-Dub guarding you rather than Shea,
it's a little
or
different.
you have it's a little different. But I do think he'll be up for the challenge. And I think in the long run, this could help Nemhard, where your star player goes down, you have to take that role, and then when he comes back, now you're ready for either the one or the two guarding you. It doesn't matter. So I think Nemhard is going to be a huge, huge, you know, um, player for the Pacers this year. But also, I'm a little skeptical because that workload is going to be a lot higher than it was last season. And I think the things that made him excel were because maybe he didn't have the ball in his hands as much.
Yep.
And now I'm thinking, can you still do those little things you excelled at when you're going to be in a main offensive option for Rick Carlisle and the Pacers?
Yeah, agree. It's we'll see what happens there. Last one. We'll wrap this pot up. Six man of the year, man. It's Trey Man had some fun. He looked great last year, but I'm curious to you, man. Who could be your six man of the year for 26?
Six man of the year for me.
It's tough because so many it's hard to tell where players are going to be too. Like I look at the Hornets and
Yeah.
I think, okay, Colin Sexton could be a six man candidate, but how many games is he going to start?
Yeah.
It,
And that's kind of where I am too, where I'm like, is Dyson Daniels a six man? I don't know.
yeah.
Probably not. Um,
Similar with Peyton Pritchard, who won it last year. Like he feels like he's got to start.
exactly. So there's a lot of I guess weird players that could go into that mix. And D'Angelo Russell's another player who's going to be starting and then will go to the bench once Kyrie Irving gets back. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Bruce Brown. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Denver.
do Denver, a guy who was there before, saw success. Denver's starting lineup is going to be Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, um, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, and then they're going to bring Bruce off the bench and just be like, hey, do everything you did for us when we won a championship. And I
Yep.
think the fact that it might not be, you know, 17 points per game off the bench, but it'll be all those little things that Jokic loves as a player. And he's going to just off back cuts get like 6 points a game. And I think
Yeah.
he's going to be a great defender for them. He's going to be a guy who's going to fly out of nowhere and grab a rebound. So I'd say Bruce Brown for me, sixth man of the year on the Nuggets, who can easily be a top 1, 2 seed in the Western Conference.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, they're gonna win the title, man. What are you talking about? All right, so mine, and then we'll get out of here, is Injuries again, you never really know. I think Lonzo Ball is my pick. I think he'll probably
Great
play
pick.
early in
Great.
the season with Darius Garland being injured. So hopefully it doesn't kind of get over that threshold. But I think what he's going to bring to Cleveland is going to be massive. He's that connector, and we were talking not too long ago, like LaMelo and Lonzo's games are very different. But what Lonzo does, contributing on the winning side of things, making the right pass, pushing the ball ahead, taking those good shots, I think he's perfect for what Cleveland needs, knowing that Donovan Mitchell needs the ball in his hands a lot to get his offense. I think Lonzo is going to have a good season there, and it's hard to look at the Eastern Conference and pick two or three teams that could have a better season than Cleveland with all the injuries.
I'm not gonna say I'm Lonzo Ball here, but I will say when I play pickup, I tell my guys, I'm like, hey, just run the floor and I'll try and find you. I think the
Yeah,
same is true for Lonzo and Cleveland, where hey, Donovan Mitchell's gonna get his touches regardless, but
yeah,
Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. If you get out in the fast break early, I'll find you. And that's
yep,
something I really love to see. Oh, he did in Chicago when he was still healthy, even though that's a while ago, where he told Levine, if you get out, I'm throwing the half court lob. And I think the
yeah,
same thing is true for Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Just because you have a two big man lineup doesn't mean you have to play half court centric offense. If you get down the court, we can still run and gun no matter what our personnel is.
yeah. And Mobley's game, I mean, is very versatile. He can step out and shoot that three. We saw him put what 40 whatever on Charlotte's head this past year. So interesting. I think the Cavs are going to have a fun season, and the only team I think maybe finishes above them in the East could be the Knicks. So all we got for this one. NBA is finally back. College football coverage is going to continue. Hannah and I will be back probably tomorrow or the following day to break down Charlotte's loss at Temple, talk a little bit about their upcoming game against North Texas, and the Tim Albin first year experience here at Charlotte. But as always, appreciate y'all. And Jeremy, tell them you mentioned your page. Tell them where they can find Lock It or Leave It, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You can find Lock It or Leave It on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. The at is Lock It or Leave It, no spaces, no caps. Kind of just doing everything NBA there. We do NFL as well, and I know that, I don't do much Charlotte 49ers on there, if at all, but that's why I come onto the Highway 49 pod, because like I said, this was the first university that allowed me to cover them, for work. So I really appreciate it. Still have a lot of love for the Niner Nation and everything there. But if you want to find stuff outside of that, still hear me talk, even though I talk too much sometimes, you can go and find me on Lock It or Leave It.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate it. And like we say, we'll be back soon.